Welcome back to WDAM News at 6. Some people say Bigfoot is a myth, but people who attended a down south Bigfoot rally say they saw the creature face to face. Jackie Massey is live in the studio with more.
Thanks, Lauren. The rally took place at the Paul B. Johnson Park, and these men say they have the evidence to prove that Bigfoot is real. Don McDonald has tried to hunt down what he calls Bigfoot.
It was a huge animal, but it just sat there and just kind of looked at us, swaying back and forth, and it finally stepped behind a tree and it was gone.
But he hasn't had any luck yet, and says his main motivation is to help people who say they have problems with this creature.
It has to be a nuisance animal that's coming up and scaring people, beating in their houses, killing their dogs, their livestock. We know people who have lost cows.
And that's why he's hosted the Bigfoot rally for 10 years now, to educate people and hear their stories.
Several encounters. I had one rush me one night. I was sitting on one side of the fence inside the field.
McDonald also shows what he calls his evidence of Bigfoot tracks and a map of all the Bigfoot sightings in Mississippi that he's found from working with the Gulf Coast Bigfoot Research Organization.
Another good hotspot area over here, southwestern Meridian, south of Forest.
This passion for finding Bigfoot caught the attention of TV channel Destination America, and in the fall you can see him in the show Killing Bigfoot. And when asked if he is worried about what people think, he says he doesn't care.
I get told I'm on drugs, I'm just totally bat crap crazy, but I've got thick skin. I know that I want to go out and help these people that have had these encounters.
And McDonald promises he will continue to search and hunt until he can prove that Bigfoot is real. The group plans on looking for Bigfoot in the park later tonight. Lauren?
Debunking the Payson Bigfoot sighting. A video shot near Payson allegedly shows a Sasquatch walking through the forest. But Bigfoot enthusiasts, including a professor of anatomy at Idaho State University, say the Payson video has some major red flags. Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum has been tracking Bigfoot for 20 years. He believes the top-level predator is very real.
But he doesn't believe the video shot near Payson is real. Fox 13's Matt McDonald shows us why.
Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum studies footprints.
The hook was really set for me as far as my research interest in 1996 when I witnessed some tracks in southeastern Washington.
These are the prints he saw, and you could say he's been on Bigfoot's track ever since.
This is an example of a footprint that was cast in 1964.
On Monday, this video surfaced of a possible Bigfoot sighting near Payson. Freeze it right here.
The face is very shiny, and the edge between that shiny face and the surrounding hair is very, very sharp, which smacks of a cheap fabricated costume.
Other red flags for Meldrum: the way the creature moves, the fact that it took a year for this video to surface, and the lack of any other evidence, like pictures of footprints left behind.
There's no place you're going to go find a Bigfoot community. They're all just passing through from Logan, clear across the tops of the mountains, clear down into Provo, which is where that one was, and down in through Payson.
Dave Carver has been interviewing Bigfoot witnesses in Utah for years. On the Payson video,
it could easily be real. It could easily not be real. But I don't want to call people fakers, because if you do that enough, then nobody will send you information, and pretty soon you'll lose real things.
he is also questioning the lack of supporting evidence, but he's not questioning his own beliefs.
I know what I know what I've seen, and I don't need any more. It's these bipeds, these unknown bipeds, are as real as can be.
I'm convinced these creatures, while they very likely exist, are extremely rare. They're large animals, top predators, so there just aren't that many of them out there in the environment.
With 250 casts from footprints like this in his office, Meldrum believes the legend is real. Matt McDonald, Fox 13 News.
Report many have seen and told, but few have the proof.
Sasquatch sightings are few and far between, but they're closer to home than you think.
Now, last November, we took you deep into the woods in Bailey, Colorado, about 2 hours northeast from Colorado Springs. But this time, Fox 21's Abby Burke, she explored Sasquatch sightings much closer to home. In fact, it's just up Highway 24 to Divide. Abby?
Guys, Sasquatch sightings have been reported all across the nation and all across Colorado, including right here in our own backyard. We spoke with one man who lives just outside Cripple Creek and says he's had not one, but two major Sasquatch encounters. Leon Drew says his first Sasquatch encounter happened about 5 years ago.
I saw these, 6 foot tall, black from head to toe, skinny things cross the road just outside the headlights of my Jeep.
Drew started asking around and quickly found he wasn't the first to spot them.
Oh yeah, that's a couple of young Bigfoot in the area. We see them all the time.
His next Sasquatch encounter wouldn't happen until 2012 in Cripple Creek.
Memorial Day weekend, I was out hiking, walking out of a grove of aspens, and standing between two pine trees was this huge, hairy, bipedal creature.
And she wasn't alone.
Behind her, I could see there was like a group of pine trees almost in a circle. And my theory is maybe she was using it like a little playground, because I think these were two very young ones that were maybe just there playing.
Drew says he and the female Sasquatch stared at each other in silence for about 45 seconds. He then looked down to grab his camera, and just like that, she was gone.
And just standing there, probably with a dumb look on my face, but just amazed on what I just encountered.
He came back later to measure a branch he took note of and guesses she was about 7.5 feet tall and weighed between 400 and 600 pounds.
She was huge. Her arms hung down past her knees. Her face was partially covered with hair. Her mouth area had this gray skin tone to it, and I could tell that she was nervous and didn't quite know how to react because I totally startled her.
That would be the last time Drew would have a face-to-face encounter, but not the last time he'd find evidence of their existence.
We had some unusual footprints appear in our driveway, probably 6 to 8 inches in diameter, 5 distinct toes, but just a round pad. And we have all the normal wildlife come through the yard, so I know what the prints look like.
Drew says sightings of Bigfoot in the region and on Pikes Peak go back centuries.
Oh, there's the Bigfoot. Look at the size of this thing's feet. It's got horns, like the devil, and there's one above it, too.
The Ute Indians called them the woods people. The whole Front Range, actually, is a great territory for them. Abundant food sources, abundant water sources, isolated areas.
So we decided to head back out into the woods for another Squatch Watch, this time near the crags in Divide.
Evidence collection bags, tweezers, so I don't contaminate with find evidence. Oh, I'd love to run into another one. Now, here's something we're looking for. It's scat is probably the nicest term we'd use for it.
What does Sasquatch scat look like?
Turn around the next time you're in the ladies' room.
Drew says the Pikes Peak region is the perfect habitat for a Sasquatch.
We think that they follow the herds of the deer and the elk, so they're following the food source. There has been reports over at the fluorescent fossil beds of footprints and people seeing creatures.
As we continue through the woods, we look for signs that Sasquatches have been here.
Right here, hanging in an aspen, is a half of a tree that's freshly broke. Can you see that? And if you look around, the bottom half of that tree is nowhere around. It would almost have to be thrown from up above to get in that position. That had to be intentionally done by someone or something.
We look for tree breaks and branches in unusual formations, like X's.
Some people think that the X's are used for maybe a territorial marker or a route marker.
We also try reaching out. But there's no answer. Still, Drew believes they're out there.
Beautiful time of year for them. There has been activity reported in here numerous times. I've had my own experience with walking through our camp, so it would not be surprising at all.
Now the question is, do you?
Pay attention when you're in the woods. You'd be surprised what you see.
Wow.
They're still very elusive, but it's believed that they're out there and pretty close.
It is believed they're out there. And we There's possibly a sighting right there.
You never know where they're going to pop up.
I'm not sure yet, but and we're having fun with it and stuff. But I mean, there's really there's a big contingency out there that is absolutely firm believers that this exists.
Oh yeah, and you meet these people and you hear their stories, and even if you're a skeptic, it gets really hard to keep denying them when there's so many reports and they're so convinced with what they've seen.
Well, I know last time you did this story, we were throwing stuff at you, and they had an answer for everything.
Just about everything.
All right, well, good luck in your continued search, Abby.
Well, thanks. And if you had a Sasquatch encounter or have one, Leon Drew wants to know about it, and you can find him at Pikes Peak Crypto and Paranormal. And then coming up at 10, we're going to talk about one theory on how the Waldo Canyon fire may have impacted the ones that are here locally and where they might be now.
A small North Carolina town, something big is spooking residents. Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
There's now even a museum dedicated to the sightings of what some are calling Bigfoot. CBS North Carolina's Carly Griffith has more from Littleton.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it.
Tiffany Merrill recounts the morning she saw a creature weaving through the woods behind her house.
It was very large, and its hair was super long, and it was running so fast.
Right away after, so could it have been a guy, a hunter, a guy in a ghillie suit, or a bear?
That's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that whatsoever.
Stephen Barcelo is a cryptozoologist. He investigates sightings of creatures whose existence hasn't been proven. He says Merrill is not the only one who's seen what he believes to be a Bigfoot.
There's a lot of people in this town now who have sightings who still won't come talk to us just out of fear of being ridiculed, and that's very common.
Barcelo says one reason for the recent sightings of the creature may be this. There have been logging of forests all around Littleton for the past 6 months, possibly disturbing the creature's habitat. A sighting at nearby Medoc Mountain State Park turned up a good find for Barcelo. An abnormal footprint he was able to cast and show to park rangers.
We brought it in. They ended up calling another ranger in and another ranger, then the superintendent, and they had all bets were off. They had no idea what it was.
The unidentifiable print is now displayed in the museum he's created in his Littleton home. Barcelo admits he's never seen a Bigfoot, and he may never be able to prove its existence. But he can certainly draw in a curious crowd that will boost his town's tourism.
We're putting Littleton on the map, which is good. So, and that's, for a positive reason and for a fun reason.
In Littleton, Carly Griffith, CBS.